That's my dog freaking out because he's a spaz. But okay, guys, we are back in action. It's game number 1 in a brand new best of 3. And whoa, this is a guy who doesn't scout, so you know he's up to no good. In the top left side of Arena, it's gonna be the orange Protoss player, HuK.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he's Hydra.
Okay, so Pylon comes down to the middle of the map. It's funny because we've actually seen specifically Terran do somewhat versions of this where you do the 3 racks in the middle and it will actually wall it off. If HuK's going to be doing proxy gates, it actually makes it possible to play on the back end of it if it doesn't succeed, but as long as it doesn't fail.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I think we're getting to see it in a live cast of ours. I've seen it on a couple of Protoss streams lately. And I guess I've only seen it ever just completely fail or completely win, you know? Like, it's very hard to get that middle of the road when it comes to proxies for any race nowadays.
The proxy mentality has kind of fallen out because a lot of the times we've seen just like the higher worker count defends against earlier cheese. But I guess the difference is Protoss have that stronger cheese, I guess if you could say it. It's a lot harder to pull drones versus zealots than it is versus marines, for example.
Yeah, well, you know, the 2 racks or the 3 racks or whatever you do, it depends heavily on getting a bunker down, and if that doesn't go up, as opposed to the zealots, which I guess you could kind of argue depend on getting into a mineral line, but I don't know, it's not quite the same. So HuK gets to see this, that the spawning pool went down pretty late. Unfortunately, Hydra's first Overlord did not take the path that goes through the middle. I think as this build gets more and more popular, we will still see that, but the second Overlord obviously did. Well, he has something to defend with. Oh, this is so cool.
Okay, this will block, but it's not going to stop the Zealots for long. Zealots have an absurdly large amount of damage that they can do. Tries to walk around. I mean, this is cool. I love the response of this, right?
Yes, this is so cool.
This will buy him the time to get the lings out. This gives him the time to get the spawning pool done.
You have so much extra money. That's where usually it goes into a spine crawler,
Oh,
lings,
man.
a queen, but it can also go into a hatchery to block.
I love this. I love this. Okay, so I'm not sure how this plays now at this point because I've seen people win with this proxy gateway, but as we see now, 3 zealots with surface area and the probe on the back end, it's a little too much. But that bottom time to get lings out. However, 3 lings still can't stop zealots that are in a mineral line.
Oh,
he's gonna focus the spine
here. I thought that was going to be the main base.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose the hatchery, obviously, and that's why he wanted to try and save it. And he also probably thought that he could, you know, with how much time he was buying. But it is a lot safer to put it in the main base and then transfer it over if you think you have a hold on situation.
Oh, and adepts coming up to follow this are going to be so fantastic for the zealots that normally get kited away from all this. These are going to transfer to the main. This is going to be really annoying. As the lings go to distract, or get distracted, excuse me, the zealots can start moving in. Cancels the transfer. Now he's got kills on the drones. HuK's position here isn't quite bad, and you know the spine crawler is not going to be in range to reach much of this if they want to attack the hatchery.
It'd have to move.
And he expands behind us. This is what I was thinking about. Like, as long as this doesn't fail miserably, you can play this out behind it. This is ridiculous, but I love it.
If this is pushed back, you got to assume that all of his units have to die, you know, because they don't have an escape path that isn't around the bend. And also, the 2 gateways will die, so that is lost production in the mid game.
Oh, I like this. He's actually planning to come out of this. So everything's going to start walking back home. He's getting a sentry to put a force field on the ramp. He knows that Hydra won't break out of this anytime soon. Even with speed, if Hydra has to go all the way around the map, this army can actually fight this amount of lings.
I mean, I think the 2 options were obviously, like, you know, the mass speed lings, which I wasn't expecting, but I can see why it would work. Or, Overlord drops would be cool too.
Ooh, yeah.
Or I was thinking roaches, you know, Roach Ravager bust through the middle and then try and harass with their corrosive bile. But the ling drops would be a cool idea.
Zealots unfortunately get abandoned by the adepts, so they can't take the fight about as well as we were hoping. SimCity's getting set up by HuK right now, and this is going to be a hard spread. Oh, gotta get in position though. Sentry on the wrong side of
this. Please don't touch me.
Actually, that's a great spot because the force will keep him alive. This is like you're hiding from the murderer that's in your bed with like your bedroom with like the axe, and you're just like, no, don't come under the bed. Don't check under the bed, please. Oh god.
And if you had a force field, that would be really useful. If only life came with one force field. Can you imagine how useful that would be?
They talk about this all the time in movies. Like, what if there's a cell phone, right? How different would that movie be? Well, what if there's a force field? I mean, come on. Half these Jason movies wouldn't even be a problem.
Of course, according to that one song, force fields bring you together, so.
Okay, well, the gateways are being dealt with. This is a little unfortunate for HuK. But the funny thing is this really does screw everybody's economy.
Lings in the Overlord.
Lings
the top Overlord.
Oh, up here. I do like that he's going for banelings as well behind this. Kind of a cool thing to see. TL been using that a little bit more than everyone else.
Oh my god. coincidentally, they're going to be the only detection, the quote-unquote detection, right? Like, he doesn't have spore crawlers yet, and he won't have a lair for the DTs, but he can manually explode on the DTs.
This is gonna be like cheese for cheese. Actually, this might time. He might just make banelings in the main. Oh my god, I would actually like that so much more than running the lings in. Hopper just up for 13 months during a very amazing game, but the Spine Crawler are going to buy all this time so the Adepts can't transfer through, not at least easily. Hydra taking a third base, and he is.
I love this.
I think he's going to morph the Banelings. No? No,
he's morphing them defensively. Dang, it would have been so cool.
Yeah, I think it would have had a lot more power because HuK would not have been looking for that. The surprise factor would have been much larger.
Yeah.
So he's going to kill a couple of the probes, and it's nothing too devastating. But you know what I want to look at behind this? I'm going to hit the economy graph. How does that look through this game? Prior to pulling the probes, HuK did have a better economy despite his proxy cheese. But pulling the probes, we got Hydra a little bit back into this. His third base now finishing up.
He did see the Dark Shrines. That's why he's checking around for pylons.
Okay, that's a pretty smart move. I guess that's another big advantage to this drop. You see a lot with that scout. You see everything that's on the field. You know what's coming your way. The thing about the Dark Shrine, though, is, okay, maybe you lose the surprise element of it, but we've been seeing so many more instances of Archons being, like the Dark Shrine specifically for Archons and not even for DTs.
That would not be a bad move whatsoever if he was ready for something. Like, if he had a lot of gateways, and he was going for basically like an all-in, like 5 or 6 gateways, that would not be a bad addition. Because without the Archons, the Banelings would do well against Zealots and Adepts. But with the Archons, especially on that bridge right there, that would be the ideal situation. And it looks like even though he's not on 5 gateways, just on 4, HuK is going to be pushing forward. He has the upgrade. He has an Archon.
Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized too? The Banelings are going to be exceptionally good against Psionic Transfer because, you know, you usually have that clump of units. It's not going to be so great here. Force Field should come down to keep him from getting hit. Oh, he misses. Oh, the Archon breaks his own Force Field. Son of a bitch.
So it did its job.
You're like, okay, I got this. Oh, stupid Archon, you clumsy bastard.
There's no reinforcement pylon, but it is arena, so like he is borderline reinforcing from his base.
Yeah, the rest distance is not that long. He's right there.
Yeah, but with roaches on the way out, I think Hydra's gonna be able to hold this. I mean, it's still so scary with depending on lings and banelings. But
speaking of the banelings, so stuck behind, they do get the hits on the Adepts. This is looking really good. The Archon gets surrounded. Archons don't do well once surrounded. Here comes those roaches, and HuK just lost his entire army.
Yeah, I think he really should have just been better off just
double robos.
Abusing the force fields on that ridge.
He's gonna have to actually, if he has force fields, no, he doesn't. I was gonna say if you had force fields, he'd buy time to get those robos complete, but he's gonna need that double immortal production. I don't know if he can hold on well before that. Does get to plug the hole in the wall just barely. Overcharges are plentiful. He's got a lot of overcharges ready to go for this. Sentry's now coming in because he wants force fields over anything else. A pretty smart move.
Yeah, I think there's a situation here where Hydra could also overextend, just like HuK just did.
Yeah.
Hydra, he's trying to turn up behind this, so it's not an all-in. He was on like 38 journals, something like that, so quite poor. Not what you really want to start attacking with, and he is gonna back off. Realize not to make that same overcommittal mistake.
Ow.
It will give time for HuK to get double immortals. I'm guessing because that's the way a lot of pros have been playing lately, as well as that third base.
Crowtail just up for 22 months in a row. This guy's awesome because he supports us. He supports Wardy. He's a big Axiom fan. I love Crowtail. So thanks for coming back again, man. Those double immortals are so important. I mean, it looks like Hydra is going to be going to range weapon upgrades. So I imagine we're going to see Lurkers somewhere down the line. Hydra's may be peppered in, but of course Roaches and Ravagers and Immortals are going to make mincemeat of both those units. This game, though, is the weirdest CVP we've cast in a while. Income still goes in the favor of HuK while a lot of this was going on, by the way. Like, Hydra did have 3 bases, but despite having less probes, I guess HuK was mining a little more efficiently up to this point, so he's had a lot of money to play with. That's why he's not out of the game. If he had done everything he did and he scarcely had any income, he wouldn't have been able to make double robos. He wouldn't have been able to make this many sentries.
Yeah, this is like a game that is perfect for the graphs to see which way they're bouncing back and forth, back in a Hydra's favor now. This is also just a perfect game to really enjoy. Now it's calmed down, and like now it looks like a regular game, which sucks for anyone just tuning in. But like, hopefully it still has a lot of action left over. Hydra, not on the best army supply, especially since it is dependent on a lot of those roaches, and the Immortals are really going to do quite well against it. But of course, HuK, depending a lot on those sentries, a lot of force fields. Is the force fields, and he could be in his own trouble.
I would actually love if he threw a couple hallucinations into this. He's got so much energy. This Immortal gets caught. That's really unfortunate.
He's just barely not going to die, though.
Mothership core range is hype. Attack here on this side of the map. Of course, the scary thing about force fields is they can be broken by the corrosive bile and the Ravager. So unfortunately, this is not like an auto win situation. I feel like if this was HOTS, you see the same composition, you're like, okay, well the Zerg's dead. They got roaches, and that's
Right? Yeah, for sure. But Ravages have really mixed things up, and I think created a much better matchup. The army supplies are still quite like a 20 army supply lead for Zerg is nice, but that's something that can be overcome. That can't be overcome with like good positioning, force fields, and maybe a War Prism play. Now, let's lose end War Prism, which is cool, but I would also love to see a real one come out, and that would definitely mean that HuK's more committed to the actual attack. Now going to go on the defensive.
Those Corsair Biles landed so much of the army. Almost all the sentries die immediately. HuK gets caught a little bit behind this, but again, he has to move from the Corsair Biles. As the roaches filter forward, they're going to die to the Immortals. No problemo. The Corsair Biles have been getting some pretty good hits during this engagement, but HuK's army supply, while at a deficit, is technically better than what Hydra's throwing at him.
He just needs to buffer for the Immortals, but it's 6 Immortals. Even without the buffer, they're going to hammer through the roaches.
Actually, the Ling flood behind this is an excellent choice, but the Ravagers have to live until the Lings get there.
Oh, dude, not really. Like, you ran into the Corsair Biles again. That really sucks. It started off with Corsair Biles. It might end with Corsair Biles. The Lings do come through here. The Immortals have gotten really low, thanks
Mothership, of course, just doing what it can. Doesn't care.
Yeah, you know, this was without pylons helping out. He used a time warp instead of potent overcharges. Now, he might just be able to clean up the Ravagers, the Ling flood.
He killed his own Overseer, by the way, with the Corsair Bile.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's right on top of the Immortal. I mean, he killed the Immortal with it, so it's definitely worth it. But starting to push this back now. That Mothership Core, I'm surprised is living through this. I wish there was a damage bar. Like, you can see how much damage was dealt by this thing, because it's just been sitting above this army, hammering from above.
Yeah. The Remax is mostly on Roaches now, as he stops the Ling flood. Everything calms down for a second, and HuK has officially held. Now, he took the worst fight. He's now down by... he was down by 30 army supply instead of 20.
He's actually going to go with the DT. Now, this isn't going to kill Hydra, because Hydra does have detection down. But there's no way Hydra was thinking about keeping any units near his base. There haven't been DT attacks the whole game. It was Archon first. So this can score a couple of drone kills. Not sure if Hydra's aware.
There's just no units back here, so yeah, you can detect, but even with the Queen poking at it, you can still kill a lot of drones. I think that's a DT on the right side as well, seen by the army.
Scout was nice too, getting to the main. Even if this one doesn't kill a lot of drones, and it looks like it doesn't, scouting to confirm that it's not Hive Tech, that's a huge relief for somebody playing this style. Lings managed to run around the map and don't quite get to the mineral lines. But now I'm questioning, what does HuK go for next? Obviously, I'm a big fan of Disruptors, but Storms wouldn't be too bad either. He's fully aware. He saw everything. He saw the Hydra Den. He saw the Baneling Nest. He's seen it's only layer tech. He has to know that it's going to be Hydras, not Lurkers.
This is a very dangerous move out. Again, without a War Prism, no reinforcements, and another Immortal is going to join the fray.
Immortals are good units. Don't underestimate them.
But Hydras are coming out, and a good Ling flood, some good buffer for the Hydras, and this army of HuK will melt.
Yeah, maybe
a lot more depths coming through.
Maybe he literally scouted the Hydra den, but didn't actually register. Like, he didn't.
Yeah. Or maybe he was desperate. I mean, he was in a position that his economy was okay, not great. Hydras was getting a lot better, and I think the main problem was that his tech was stagnant. You know, he wasn't going up to Robotic Spear, the Templar Archives, and he might have noticed that and just been like, oh crap, I have to all in.
Well, GG. Hydra will take the first game, but he didn't make it look easy. That's for certain. Like, that was a good game between the two of them, but there was I've